Okay. So why is this the second serendipity conversation we've had?
I don't think that's any of your business, Johnny.
Well, specifically the movie or just
no.
the word serendipity?
Yeah, specifically the movie.
Right.
Wow.
Right. It might not be my business, but now it's out there for the listeners, and just
now it's everybody's business. It's really not even a good story.
Release it into the void.
It's I think when I was finishing up dinner, I turned to my wife.
Thank you.
And said I was heading upstairs to go do the pod. And she goes, all right, when you come down, we, meaning her and my daughter, will probably be watching a chick flick. And I said, oh, Serendipity? And she goes, oh, that's a good one. I don't know if Anna's quite of age to watch that movie yet. And I said, she's not going to be watching it anyway. She'll be looking at her phone the whole time.
Right.
So if you want to watch Serendipity, watch Serendipity. So again, not a good story, but it is the second time.
Is just like the way you run your house, you just kind of keep John Cusack out of it till a certain point?
Yeah, I mean, he
can be a lot.
He's a gateway drug for sure.
Gateway drug, sure.
Yep.
A gateway drug of just the kind of thing you don't want coming back to your house.
You know what? Well, early John Cusack, I don't think I want coming to my house. Later John Cusack seems like a good guy.
Right. And a consolation about like the younger John Cusack, there's no way anybody can kind of get those hands on boom boxes anymore.
That's a good point.
Right.
Yeah, they don't even exist.
Like 20-something.
You have to go to a vintage store.
I would question, though, why an older John Cusack would be standing outside your home. I mean, wouldn't that bother you more than like a younger John Cusack?
Trying to buy a huge boombox?
Especially when you don't even recognize him anymore. He's like, what, like 80-something? He's just standing out there. He's like, please, it's cold. Can you let me in?
He still looks just like John Cusack.
Right. But he's got to be getting like the AARP discounts at least, right?
He looks leathery.
Yeah.
He's got to be, I would say, I'm going to guess late 50s.
He's probably still asking why Jack Black's career just blew up the way it did, and he's just making all these really shitty low-budget movies.
Right.
Yeah, but he's been in some great stuff. He's 58 years old.
58.
58, really?
Yeah, 58.
Liam Neeson later this summer at 73 years old, starring Police Squad. Have you guys seen the trailer yet?
God, I don't know what to think about that.
Trailer for which one?
For the new Naked Gun.
Naked Gun, yeah.
No, I didn't know they were making another one.
It's okay. I'm not going to spoil anything. It is 1 minute long. It doesn't look like much to start, and then it ends on one of the best jokes I've ever seen. I'll just leave it at that.
Is it a continuation of the original series or a reboot?
Yes. Liam Neeson is Leslie Nielsen's son, his 73-year-old son.
Okay. All right. I could get into that.
I'm not going to spoil anything.
One-up this.
Okay.
I'm going to one-up this. What about the Spaceballs 2 trailer?
Boo.
Or teaser.
Boo.
Yeah. Haven't watched that either.
Boo.
I am against the idea of... I don't like sequels of movies that were perfect. Just like I don't want to see a Goonies follow-up. I don't want to see a Spaceballs follow-up. It's not necessary. The first one was and will always be a comedic classic.
Right.
And it's a perfect movie.
I think it's a perfect self-contained object.
It's a whole story in 90 minutes or whatever it is that does not need to be continued. And not to mention, Mel Brooks is coming back as Yogurt.
That's great. That's great. Give him something to do.
Yeah, but he's 88 years old now.
He's 98 years old.
His wife's like,
98.
honey, get out of the house.
Yeah.
There's no way he's going to be alive.
His wife has been dead for about 40 years or so. But
exactly. The ghost of his wife, who he still like communicates with every day. That's his day. He goes home. He just from nothing. And he just talks to his wife, like the dead ghost of his wife. Actually, just the ghost of his dead wife. Sorry, there we go.
Not the dead ghost?
No, I brought that back on track. It was falling off from the start. But he's at home and he's just eating yogurt and he's just looking at it, talking to his dead wife. And she's just like, you see something in that yogurt, don't you?
Right.
And he's just like, some bits of cookie. And she says, like, honey, just go make the film.
Okay. John Cusack is standing outside. He's got the boombox. He's like, come
He's
on,
like,
Mel.
Hey, I'm in my 70s. I stole this from your garage. I would love to see if they did this. Bring Pizza the Hut back. He has like a slew of children and their Pizza the Hut rolls.
But he ate himself to death. How are you going to bring that back?
That's right.
Of course, he can come back. Nothing dies in film.
He
can always come back.
Pizza the Hut got bought out by private equity, and it's just a bunch of like people our age standing around and be like, not as good as it used to be. There's too much of that cheap Monsanto cheese.
All this almond-based cheese.
Okay,
just doesn't hold.
But let's think about like Andy's thesis for like a second here. Like, if you have a perfect movie, there shouldn't be a sequel. Counterpoint: just looking at the superior sequel cycle that we did, how many of those had original films that you could call perfect self-contained films that didn't need a second one made?
Of the ones that we watched, or
we watched, yeah.
So let's recap then. So we watched. We watched Blade Runner 2049.
Nobody would have said a Blade Runner sequel was a good idea.
Right, but I don't think personally. Again,
they brought on Baby Goose.
I think the first Blade Runner movie wasn't good. That's just my own personal opinion.
There's how many edits of it? I mean, it was just kind of a mess.
I think 14 is the actual number.
The movie was boring as shit. So that's okay. Yeah, remake a new one of those. But what else did we watch now?
The Great Muppet Caper.
Okay.
I like the sequel to that one. I went with the sequel for it. It was a lot more. Nostalgia is not strong for me with the Muppets, and then I thought the second one just built off the first one so well. The fact that they had Fozzie and Kermit as like twins the entire film, best part of the entire movie.
Yeah, sure.
Pop's just yelling at him the whole time.
Pops,
let me show you what's in the locket, Fozzie.
Boys, I got a baseball for you. Pops.
Sonic 2.
No, that wasn't the sequels though. But
it wasn't?
No, that was for the video game adaptations.
Yeah, I just went with this sequel.
We did
Return to Oz. The Road Warrior. The
Road
Warrior and Return to Oz.
Was itself a sequel to a movie that's considered pretty good, but then 2 movies later, possibly like the best action movie of the 21st century. Nobody, I think, saw that coming. Made by the same fucking director in his 70s.
But how often does this actually happen?
True.
Where like the sequels are generally not better than the originals.
Especially when they're 30, 40 years apart.
Right. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens. And
again, aside from Blade Runner.
I was going to say 1990.
Blade Runner is like
how many of those
huge anomaly.
sequels? There's so many good ones that we missed. I think that's the problem. We missed a lot of those sequels and we didn't give them a chance. So
maybe.
Sure.
And I say this, and I will 100% watch Spaceballs too. So, Mel Brooks will still get my money posthumously.
I heard the Superman movies only got better.
Yeah, totally. You're right.
That one where it's just mostly like Richard Pryor vamping.
Yeah. They're really on an upward trajectory with that one.
Right. Or the one after that where he fought a guy with radioactive fingernails.
I think like each one of those movies catered to like a specific niche group of people. They're like, this one's for those guys. This was for the trauma fans that like a Toxic Avenger. This one's for I really don't know.
Superman 4 is mostly just for 80s guys on cocaine. I mean, there's no other.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Naveen, can we sound check real quick?
Sound check.
Sound check.
Testing, 1, 2.
Okay. I wanted to kind of keep this on mic, and we can kind of trim this later if we need to. Sharing the screen.
Don't do this to me. Is this a presentation?
No. It's just a PR review. We'll be in and out in a solid 20. Okay.
Hey, you.
Hey, you in the alley.
So you guys can see that okay?
Yes.
All right. Audio test.
Audio
test.
Sorry, I can't hear anything. There's this guy standing outside with an old beat up boombox.
Test.
Wow, you're in basement. You can hear that, huh?
You in the alley. Hey, knucklehead.
Yep.
How about some nice young poontang, huh?
Oh my God.
This is fantastic already.
All right, so that's what we're getting into, huh? Okay, cool.
You think this is what we're getting into? You don't even know what we're getting into.
You got
It's
sloth
a
on the
mess.
side of the building.
Young Poontang.
Oh, I'm really excited now.
So that's what Sloth did after the Goonies.
Yep. Love young poontang.
Well, welcome to episode 55 of Rebels Without a Pod, the show that dares ask the question, will you just take the fucking elephant? My name is John. On this Father's Day weekend, joining me, three of New England's finest dads. Andy, who does our artwork and graphic design.
Hey, everybody.
Naveen on music and audio production.
Hello, hello.
And Trauma Daddy Eric, our very own Sergeant Kabuki Man, NYPD.
Hubba hubba.
Hubba hubba. Hubba hubs. All of our content currently up on the Rebels Without a Pod YouTube channel. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Gentlemen, 50 videos, 100 hours of produced mainline content at this point. We didn't make it last record, but over the weekend, we crossed into 900 collective views for the channel. We are coming up on a cool 1,000. I think it's going to happen in like the next few days or so.
You think so?
Yeah.
We got that many views in a week.
Really?
Yeah. It is collectively at now
How many subscribers?
22.
22.
Yeah.
How many of these do we not know? Zero.
I won't see that on the webpage. Hold on. And okay, 925 views collectively now. I think we can kind of do it.
Highest view video? Give it to me.
Highest rate? Oh, probably the intro.
Really? Not the Handmaiden?
No, yeah. You're right. It's the Handmaiden.
You know why, right?
American audiences are starved for Korean erotica.
It's the artwork.
It's the artwork.
Artwork, baby. It's so enticing. They're like, look at this. Out of all the filth that they put out, this one just looks like a nice, calm, relaxing conversation.
Uh-huh.
Not dirty at all. It's probably like one of our filthiest movies we covered.
Yes.
Yep.
It is.
You didn't go that route.
It is in between the blockbuster covers on the 1996 movie draft and Roger Rabbit popping out of a giant pair of boobs.
I knew that one would do well.
Yeah. Today we are concluding our unconventional superhero cycle with a live watch and discussion of Michael Herz and Lloyd Kaufman's 1984 film, The Toxic Avenger. Following that, we'll be talking like a little bit about the cycle as a whole, and then announcing our picks for the upcoming cycle, The Toxic Avenger being a great entree for the B movie cycle, which we're going to wrap up very, very excitingly with a viewing of 2002's Tommy Wiseau classic, The Room. So, gentlemen, here we are. We're about to watch The Toxic Avenger together. Andy, this was your pick.
Indeed.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, right now, having never seen the movie, I feel great about it. Ask me again in an hour and a half, and we'll see.
I love this. It's Andy. He's just like at the far back end of the line for the roller coaster, and he just can't see the people falling out of the roller coaster as it's just like looping around. So he's like, I don't know, guys. This sounds like it's going to be a great ride. I mean, I'm excited. Can you hear them
hear
screaming?
all that screaming? They sound like they're really enjoying
Yes.
themselves.
He can't see the park attendant that was just killed by falling loose.
I love it. He's like, it's great because look, there's so many people getting on the roller coaster, not that many people like leaving like the ride. So they must be just staying on the whole time because it's such a good ride.
What's this coaster called? The Hotel California? West Coast. Classic. Andy, remind me, you were kind of oscillating between this movie, which you had not seen, and there was another pick, which was a film you actually did know. Remind me what that was?
Mystery Men.
Mystery Men. Sure.
Which seemed like the obvious choice for this particular cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it would be good for us to cover it. But that being said, I'm really kind of glad we did this one.
I mean, it's a great way for us to kind of on ramp to the B movie thing.
Yeah.
This one, I had so much fun, like about a month or so ago when we watched Orgasmo together. So I think this is kind of a cool way to again have like a little kind of bonding experience and kind of just wind down the cycle this way. So
Indeed. Yep. I think so too.
You'll like it. It's good.
It's good. All right, so gentlemen, let's pause the record. Let's knock out Toxic Avenger, and then we will be back with our final thoughts.
Sweet.
Let's do it.
Cool.
Well, let's
Pretty solid.
find out. The Toxic Avenger is a 1984 superhero splatter comedy film by Michael Herz and Lloyd Kaufman, starring Mitchell Cohen, Andre Miranda, Pat Ryan Jr., Jennifer Baptiste, and I just found this out mid-watch, a 18-year-old Marisa Tomei in one of her first film credits. So there we are. Synopsis in brief. I got a bunch. Milkshakes? How about milkshakes?
Bring him to the
Synopsis
yard.
in brief. How many eggs do you think that was? Synopsis in
30.
brief. In fairness, that he was not David Bowie. Synopsis in brief. Much like Bozo, I also have problems and am generally a stressed person. Synopsis in brief.
Very personal. Okay.
Synopsis in brief. Is this movie going to kill a dog? Seems like the kind of movie that would kill a dog.
Son of a bitch.
Synopsis in brief. We'll watch any movie with a character named Nipples.
Small amount of context. There's been, since this has come out in 1984, there's been 3 immediate film sequels, a stage musical, a comic book series by Marvel, multiple video games, a children's animated series, and a upcoming reboot releasing in August of this year, starring Peter Dinklage, Jacob Tremblay of Good Boys fame, Elijah Wood, and Kevin Bacon. Reviews for the movie. Who gives a fuck? Andy, let's start with you. What'd you think?
Oh man. So again, never saw it. First time. Definitely won't be the last time. That movie was terrible in all the best ways.
You had fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, every 80s trope that you could possibly imagine, you know, the montages, the terrible music, the smash cuts, just everything you could possibly want. Gratuitous nudity,
leggings,
lots of leggings,
athletic wear, yeah. Romantic scenes set to a power ballad.
Yep. Homoerotic, cigarette, sit-ups. I mean, everything you could possibly want.
Right.
Good times.
Okay. Naveen.
Yes, it was fantastic.
You were having. I'm sitting there like watching a thumbnail like, Naveen is enjoying this so goddamn much.
Oh, it was hilarious. It was just fantastic. I'm not sure why it took me so long to see it. Thank you,
This is
Andy.
the first time for you as well.
Thank you, Andy. Yeah, no, it was first time for me as well. Yeah, I had never seen it.
Wait.
It was just absurd and hilarious in the best of ways. I can only say, if you haven't seen it, please go out and watch it. If you have seen it, watch it again.
Wow.
Yeah, that's high praise.
Ringing endorsement.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was fantastic.
So let's go to Eric on this. My comment on like a recent episode was like the Toxic Avenger is what Eric sees when he closes his eyes while he is tired and hungry. I did not actually mean to say hungry. Eric, how was this rewatch for you?
Sometimes I'm hungry. It's a great film. Again, it's one of those movies where, again, there's tons of 80s tropes, but at the same time, there's so many inappropriate scenes where you find yourself laughing. That's why I don't recommend this as like a film that you bring over to, like, you know, show your friends. I mean, maybe if it's those kind of friends that like these kind of flicks, but I mean,
Well,
Kids.
Slug had to go to church.
Oh yeah,
This,
kids getting their heads run over by like cars and people being dumped in toxic waste.
this
And
is a movie that kills a 12-year-old on a bike in the first like 10 minutes.
I remember watching this for the first time. I forget who I was with, but when that scene happened and I laughed and then I caught myself and I looked around the room and nobody else was laughing, I was the monster.
Right.
Not your friends, Eric.
Right.
Not your friends.
Not real friends.
No,
Eric woke up the next day with a tank pointed at him.
You're stressing me out.
Oh man, his over the top acting.
Right.
all of their over the top acting.
Yeah, but Bozo.
I love the voiceover. The voiceover for Melvin is just so
was
funny.
fucking Shakespearean. It was like
Sarah, no, it's me.
No,
Don't worry.
Sarah.
I would never hurt you.
Mhm.
Yeah, he sounds like Lou Ferrigno when he's the Hulk. It's like, "Arr,
Yeah.
arr. Hi, Mom. Please
Right.
let me in. Arr, arr."
Yeah, Christ, for me, it's been like a little bit since I've seen this. I wish we got more of this kind of thing. Like at the end of the day, like these things that are kind of made locally, made for cheap. It sort of made me think of Cholet, honestly, like a little bit, like of just like the vibe of
Okay.
this is. I feel like a thing you kind of see sometimes when we kind of watch like old Bollywood movies of just like they didn't really need to kind of hire extras because they would start filming and just people from the town would show up and just kind of stand in the background like looking at it. Like this had such a hometown vibe to it. This had just the feeling of everybody making this thing were just they were cracking up and just having such a goddamn time doing it. You know,
Just say, man, there was a Nazi cop.
I'm gonna bring up the Nazi cop. Like it's the
Nine.
Nazi cop.
Should we go after the monster? 9. Get the tanks, boys. Let's go. Roll them out.
I
'Cause
kept
we
on
all-
having delusions of grandeur throughout the movie where I thought to myself, we have to write a movie like this.
Yeah.
Like we have to make one of these.
this is the thing, and this is a little bit of kind of why I sort of brought Hundreds of Beavers kind of like the pop, because that was done for this movie was done for like $500,000 in 1984. Hundreds of Beavers, astoundingly, was done for like $150,000 like 3 years ago. Like these things are not like outside the realm of possibility anymore.
We got to do it, man. Let's write it. At least let's do a short movie.
Mhm.
We got to do it.
Would it be based on Paul Newman's barbecue sauce?
Ooh.
In the Wahlbergs.
No.
It has to be a Ninja Turtles Last Ronin thing where 3 of the 4 podcast hosts have been killed, and like the 4th one, and it's a mystery. He's seeking revenge.
I'll say this though. Again, this is a trauma film.
Mhm.
A lot of trauma films are very like similar vein.
Yes.
Low budget, very campy, goofy special effects. For some reason, I've tried to watch some of the other stuff. It just doesn't hit like this one does.
I mean,
And
this was their classic. This is the
It
one.
is. It is.
Yeah.
And it's like the first one. I will say it is a classic. It is the best of the 4. I watched all of them a long time ago. I remember liking this one. The second one, though, I will say check it out.
Right.
I haven't watched in a while, but they actually filmed part of it in Tokyo.
I was going to say, isn't that the one where he goes to Japan for like?
He goes to find his father in Japan, and they actually have, they have a famous Japanese actor of the time that's in the film who really wanted to be in the film, so they put him in, and he's in like I don't know a few different scenes. He also gets murdered, which is great. But it's cool because they filmed it in Tokyo, and then they filmed it in like Jersey and New York. So I mean, it's just all over the place.
This would especially be like 86, 87 Tokyo. So just kind of height of the boom, everything going crazy at the same time.
They also have one of the best kills where he gets a guy and he smushes him, like Melvin smushes him into a basketball, and he just shoots him at a basketball hoop. But it's like a basketball with a face. So it's way over the top.
Yeah. So let's get to some of the questions real quick. For the unconventional superhero cycle, were all of these revenge movies? Is there an argument to be made?
All 4.
Well, right here, we're just Toxic Avenger was kind of a revenge movie, but it wasn't like all those people did that to him.
Right.
There's a lot of other bad people that he killed, but they didn't all, play that
They were
prank
all
on him.
directly involved in
That prank and him getting in the toxic. So it's semi-revenge, I would say, but
Mhm.
On the other side, that hero.
Mhm.
Yeah, go on to the next person while I think of some
I was
other
gonna
stuff.
say, what are the other? I'm trying to remember what are the other flicks that we covered this cycle.
Dark Man.
Dark
100
Man was revenge.
You're muted, Andy.
Represent.
Yep, sorry. Hundreds of Beavers, definitely a revenge flick on beavers. Clearly.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. I don't know.
Orgasmo was. Orgasmo owes so much of its DNA to this movie.
Sure, definitely.
These are both such of like a piece.
I mean, their first film that they released was under the Troma Film production. So,
and you could actually honestly say like almost the exact same thing about Dark Man. I mean, this is a
classic scene.
like a guy who gets his face kind of melted up by kind of like villains at the beginning, and he gradually tracks them down and takes them out in like horrifying ways.
Yeah.
If the Toxic Avenger was Tromaville's answer to the 1980s corruption and pollution, who or what would be the modern day equivalent hero for current America? And what mutation would they need to survive the social media, climate change, and late stage capitalism that they would need to go up against? This is Andy's question.
Ooh.
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one.
It is.
I had the idea of like a haunted Amazon delivery truck where a guy just works like 37 hours and then his kidneys go out and they don't even kind of take him off shift. He put like a new driver in there and he's just kind of moldering in the back with the with the prescription deliveries.
It's funny. I was thinking of this a different way. So I was thinking of like, who would people, especially nowadays, consider like a modern hero for the people? If they could elect somebody, who would it be? And I picked
Luigi Mangione.
Maybe I picked Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Okay.
And his special ability, right? It's not a mutation; it's a special ability. He invites people over for dinner. They come to his house. He greets them. They come inside, and then as soon as you walk through the door, he goes, "Can you smell it?" And they're like, what is that? And he goes, "Can you smell what I'm cooking?"
You could also do John Cena because you could never see him.
You could do John Cena too. I was torn between
never
the two,
see him.
but he brings people together through food. You see, he's a peaceful monster.
Right.
Yes,
his show, by the way, called Cena Wouldn't Want to Be. No.
No.
Ew.
No.
Ew.
Take that back to the workshop.
Leave all that in, double it.
Stressing me out, guys.
Oh yeah, no, it's staying
Stressing
in.
me
Yeah,
out.
it's staying
So
in.
stressed.
God, let's kill a 12-year-old and get double points. Not dead yet.
All right. This is another like the talking points that Andy wrote, but this may I feel like we've kind of covered this already. What is it about this gloriously weird movie that has made it a cult classic that people still love to this day? Why is this as good as it is in 2025?
How could it not? How could it
A
not?
lot of Bowie fans.
Yeah, David Bowie. People love a deformed man in a tutu.
Right.
Obviously. It's everything about the movie. It's like this movie could not that it couldn't be made today, but it wouldn't be made today.
Right. It's wild that it was made at any point in our lifetimes, particularly over 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that just makes it like so watchable and charming and engrossing, I guess.
All these
I'm
words
sure
say
this was edgy at the time,
me,
but
by the
aspects of this have to be edgier now because what movies now, even that we're trying to do this kind of thing, would kill a dog, would kill a 12-year-old,
like that part.
Have this much sexual violence, would have this much out and out horrifying racism,
But they made up for it in the end, remember? Because like when Toxie was decorating his home and he put up like the picture of Carrie the dog with shade.
Right.
Just had fun with it.
He put up a picture and didn't
Sunglasses.
say anything to his blind girlfriend, which
Yeah.
I guess it's the thought that counts. But
Yeah.
Let me see your other hand.
But just the absurdity of it. You saw the dog get shot, and then the next time you see the dog, it's like it was eaten by zombies.
Dude,
that
corpse.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the dog from The Thing.
Yeah.
Just tentacles are shooting out of its back.
Right.
Well, I think this dovetails into an interesting discussion topic that we actually sort of mentioned, or we were going to talk about, which is, they're rebooting or remaking this franchise, as you mentioned, with Peter Dinklage.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Johnny.
So the original, Andy, this is I'll read the question you had here. The original budget about $500,000. The modern remake starring Peter Dinklage is rumored to have a budget of somewhere between $30 to $40 million, which is interesting. But I think more interesting, it has taken nearly 2 years to release due to, quote, gore and graphic content. This is from an article I wrote about it, and also, quote, not being safe enough to market. This is what they're saying about this movie today. This thing's been finished. It's been in the can for a couple of years. They really labored to find distribution for it.
I think that's fascinating. And it makes me like, if it hadn't taken 2 years for this movie to get released, if it hadn't been stuck in, whatever post-production hell or whatever happened, I would be, I think, less interested in seeing it, because I would go, oh, well, a $40 million remake of this movie is, there's no way it's going to capture any of the same kind of feel or
the homemade dirty motherfucker anarchy.
Yeah. It's just not gonna scratch the itch. But
Hooked
then
up Jersey Mel Brooks.
Right. But the fact that it's been stuck for so long, they're not sure if they can release it. It makes me wonder, did they embrace everything that this movie sort of was, but just amplify it somehow?
I mean, that would make me wonder, did they just aim for the same level? Because imagine just trying to make this movie with these jokes and these ideas today, and not even adding anything to it, just releasing it kind of brand new in 2025.
But then the question is, with the practical effects that they did in the original, with all the gore and the, just all the stuff that they tried to pull in this movie, with a $30 million or $40 million budget, is CGI going to just completely ruin all of that?
I would certainly hope that wouldn't be the case. I feel like in the last few years, you've seen a ton of special effects driven films recently. The latest Star Wars movie, Beetlejuice 2, like the Dune films, people have gotten the message about sort of practical effects. I mean, if this was 2000, if this was 2005, 2010, it may be like a different kind of case. But I think there is probably a bigger understanding right now that for these kind of things, especially practical effects, are just kind of what people want, and like the shit that's more interesting and ages better.
I think the thing that's weird too is like when they try to remake some of these films, and they don't spend the money so much on special effects and stuff like that. If you're filming it with nice cameras and you see everything cleanly, it doesn't look the same, right? That's the thing I noticed, especially when I watch an old film. I get it on Blu-ray and I'm like, this is going to be the best version of it. And you see it and you see all the flaws that are in the film, because now everything is brought into frame, and you're like, okay, now I can see, like, for example, the Ninja Turtles movie, right? I heard the biggest complaint that people had is they bought the new Blu-ray version, and you see it and you can see like
it's too high resolution
and the masks.
It's like the themes are too obvious.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe they try to film something like that, and they're like, it just looks cornbally. It doesn't have the same kind of appeal as the original. And so they try to mask it with like CGI. And I mean, we'll see. They probably also paid like, what was it, $40 million budget, and they gave $30 million to Peter Dinklage. So
it could very well
maybe
be.
It's not as much money as we thought.
Could very well be.
Sure. I mean, there is a reason that people are so sentimental about like the VHS horror movie era, because it's just some things like these on a low budget, the low fidelity becomes part of the charm, part of like the vibe of the thing.
It's true.
It just hits different.
Yeah.
That's why I told you before I was buying newer movies on VHS. My parents actually gave me a VCR, and so there's a website I was buying through. I forget what it's called. It's like
it's not Vinegar Syndrome, is it?
No. It's like I'll have to look it up. Like Broke Horror or something like that, and it's they'll have more recent stuff like Shudder originals and stuff like that, or like the VHS series. They'll release those kind of films on like an actual VHS tape, and I was like, how cool is that? Like you have VHS, the movie, on like a VHS tape, and then you watch that at home on a VCR, and it gives you that full effect of how maybe it was intended. And then because it's a little pixelated and it's not as like crisp, the picture, you get exactly what you were getting back in the day when you're watching, flicks at home in the 80s.
Right.
Yeah.
Naveen, you had something out there?
Yeah, I was just gonna, I guess, confirm with you as well, because Johnny, you had mentioned that the new Toxic Avenger is being held, was being held up because of its effects and gore, and
it had a really hard time finding actual sort of like distribution, particularly theatrical distribution, which is what they wanted to do for the amount of money they spent on it.
Right, but the reason was because it was too graphic in nature.
Yeah. I mean, I only know sort of what I sort of read off like Wikipedia, but
right, and which is what I'm trying to get at, which astounds me as well, because there are so many movies out there that show a lot of this gore and ways people are dying with killing things. I mean, just even it was more imagination, and you had to think about it. Like the Human Centipede got released 3 times.
Sure. But there's stuff out of the 70s and 80s that's also just like, it's just the racism, some part, violence to kids and animals, some part sort of like the sexual violence. I mean, this is literally a movie where the Toxic Avenger gets revenge. He's not even shown killing one of the women. He's just kind of shown burning off her anus and vagina on lava rocks.
Right.
That's not something I've seen recently. I went to like a movie the other night about a serial killer who just feeds women to sharks.
I mean, they had it spot on.
They're really in other ways, but that's what I'm just getting at. Like, you don't have to do it with that sort of thing happening.
But that's promising, though. Like the fact that it's been promising for maybe what the end result of this new movie is going to end up being. It's like certain things get allowed. There's other things that don't, and it makes me wonder if it's those the not that I love racism, not that I love sexism, misogyny, all that kind of stuff, but there's a big but there.
But
Eric,
I
you want to go first?
All my friends. Andy's birthday party. I'm going to be there, guys. No Dickie, no Washy. Come on.
No Dickie, no Washy.
All right. Make a line. Here we go.
I would love to see that type of a movie made today, just to see what the
vibe is,
response,
what
the backlash, it would be really interesting as just a social experiment.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going opening night personally. Just
yeah.
Nice.
And let me ask this question too, maybe of Eric and John more than of Naveen, because I know that you guys are kind of video game kind of people, especially Eric with video games. Right. I was thinking while watching this movie, why hasn't this been made into a video game? Which, of course, Johnny, you said that it has been a number of times. I've not obviously played any of those, but I picture this as like like almost a GTA type game where you can go around this big open world city and be a vigilante, basically. Right. Drive cars.
Because just what's implicitly supposed to be like the outskirts of Newark in 1984. There was much more crime than not kind of going around.
I want to play that game. Like that's a game I want to play.
Eric, you can probably answer this. None of like the video games were considered good, right?
So put it this way, right? They had one come out for Nintendo, one come out for Genesis. They're both kind of beat 'em up games. And they had limitations because the Nintendo one especially, it was really poorly made. It was only one player. Yeah. I believe the Genesis one was a little better, and the graphics were similar to that Toxic Crusader show. But they do have, there's a company called Retroware. They put out that Ninja Turtle game a couple years back. It's like a beat 'em up where there's like like 10 different playable characters.
Like 10
Splinter,
out of 10,
April, Casey
one of, like, the best
Jones.
games that sort of kind of came out
It's an
there.
amazing game, and
It's
they
super
pull
fun.
from the 1987 cartoon a lot, which is
Yeah.
awesome. They got hired to make a Toxic Crusader game based off the cartoon.
Mhm.
And you can play as like all of Toxie and his teams. You can play as all of them pretty much. You can play as also his girlfriend and his mother, or his girlfriend's mother, I think it was. One of the two. I haven't seen the show in a while, but it's a weird selection of characters, but I heard it's amazing.
Mhm.
And it's cool because it's one of those ones, if you ever played Double Dragon back today for Nintendo and you get points,
Right.
it's almost like an RPG where when you beat enough guys, you get enough points, you can upgrade your abilities.
Right.
So it adds some of that kind of like flavor
what's
too.
like the Streets of Rage is like the one
Streets
you
of Rage was for Genesis.
You take a break and kind of go into like a sauna. No, that River City Rampage is one.
Rampage.
That's a very like a side-scrolling beat 'em up where it's also like a real kind of RPG sort of number cruncher. Like you'd be kind of fighting street thugs, and then you can like just get sushi or go into like an onsen.
You had to fight to get the books, and you had to get it was like the Dragon Fist or something, and then you had like the super fast punch. You'd hit him 3 times in a row. And then it was all about it's like Scott Pilgrim. You go to the gym, like the high school, and to go to the top of the high school to fight like the boss.
To your question though, Andy, there is certainly something about these kind of revenge style movies, something that we are kind of probably, for guys our age, are most familiar with something like Kill Bill more than anything else, but was a kind of fixture style of kind of Western and sort of martial art film, like back in the day, where you have a gang of evildoers commit some kind of wrong at the start of it, whether it's just burning down a town, or just killing the mother or the wife or the dog or like whatever else, and the hero sort of going out and sort of working their way progressively through increasingly sort of more dangerous situations to kind of get back at like kind of the different gang members to get to a literal boss at the end. Those are the kind of things that just these kind of films just lend themselves really, really well to video game adaptations.
Mm-hmm.
I think I said a similar thing when we watched The Warriors. Like I feel like this absolutely translates into like a gritty, street level, like I said, open world, New Jersey.
And The Warriors was made into
Rockstar.
a pretty successful Rockstar game about like 20 years ago. Amazing how it comes out.
Yeah.
Anyway. See, there's somebody else that was thinking the exact same thing, and then they had the ability to actually make a game of it. They're like, this is going to be for those people.
Yeah.
Any to me, like the random sort of Marisa Tomei like appearance is like the most fascinating part of this. But
you called it out. I didn't believe you. I was like,
So I did some Googling after you mentioned that, and it's disputed.
Really?
It's disputed whether it's Marisa Tomei or not.
Really?
So apparently, and I could be getting this wrong because I just did a very quick Google search, but so apparently there's a rumor or there's a Reddit or something where it says that Marisa Tomei mentioned in an interview at one point back in like the 90s or something like that she did this movie, or that she had a brief cameo or something like that. But nobody has any proof that interview ever happened. There's no video, there's no audio.
So if you guys check like the podcast group chat real quick, I tossed a photo up like a little while ago, and you tell me.
I don't think so. I don't think it looks like her.
No, I mean, it's so different.
And there's other pictures that if you Google it, that brings up different frames from that same scene that give maybe a better look at her face.
And it's questionable. Like from other
it's questionable. I mean, it's close. It's definitely close. This picture very much looks like her that you sent. John,
but she also looks quite a lot like kind of Jamie Lynn Sigler. She just has kind of like a certain
Yep. So it's disputed. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying, believe what you want.
Let me settle this, okay?
Sweet.
In that moment, did you see any nudity?
No.
Then you know what? Just let it go.
I'm just
let it go.
No.
If there was nudity there, I would
just
let me
putting it
think
back.
it's Marisa Tomei.
Yeah. Like,
Give me that. I would have been like, that's
you
it.
thought this was going to happen?
Sold.
Nope. You're going to have to wait like another 30 years for like a shitty Jack Kerouac movie I do with Matt Dillon.
Like a fine wine.
Like a fine wine.
Just ages so well.
Right. I don't know, man. Like Spider-Man, Spider-Man 3, Happy Hogan, he's kind of depressed because she like broke up with him. He's got sleep apnea.
His taco truck didn't work out so well, so he moved on from there.
Any other trivia, or do you guys want to go on to kind of wrapping up?
I have a correction, by the way. That VHS website I mentioned is called Witter Entertainment.
Witter Entertainment.
I actually went off like a horror website. That was what I quoted earlier. But Witter Entertainment, they're pretty good. It's a little expensive, but Terrifier, they released all the Terrifiers on VHS through that website, so it was cool.
Yeah, no free ads, but we love their product.
No free ads.
Unconventional superhero cycle. How do we feel about it? And did we learn anything?
I had a lot of fun.
I did too.
They were all really good choices.
Yeah,
it's a great time. But no, I mean, I found them to be similar to your regular superhero movies, just ones that were not as big as the others.
I don't believe in learning.
Yeah.
I learned to forgive. I forgave Naveen because he had an excellent choice in the end. Found a classic movie for me that I'll probably watch again. So
third time's a charm for 1990.
You've been forgiven. 1990 was a strong year.
All right,
that's all I'm gonna say.
The real interesting historical thing to me, and this is coming back to like a point we made on the previous pod, but like how just like a big chunk of like the movies we've sort of talked about for like this cycle sort of came in the wake of just like the mega hit that Tim Burton's Batman in 1989 was. It was interesting to sort of see to watch like a few different movies that sort of came in the wake of that, and to just kind of for me to kind of think about a thing that's really been emphasized over and over again about how reluctant Hollywood was to kind of just make fucking comic book movies like Toxic Avenger, clearly a thing sort of pulled by more kind of gritty, like underground kind of just gross out splatter comics. Had to be independently produced. The Ninja Turtles movie had to be independently produced to be as good as it actually was. They made Batman, and the next few movies they did after that, it was just a fucking like Darkman and the Phantom and the Shadow and Dick Tracy, and then they tried to do it like a Super Mario Brothers movie, but it ended up sort of being like a Blade Runner knockoff. It's just this cycle to me was sort of really interesting, kind of dipping into that timeline a little bit and looking at how really reluctant a lot of Hollywood was to kind of just do something that now in retrospect, which is so incredibly obvious, just because they hated nerd shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Unconventional superheroes. That was a win. It was a fun one.
Yep.
Yeah.
So shall we go to our picks for the next cycle?
I think we should.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay. Andy, do you want to lead us off? What is? I think we all kind of know what your choice is going to be, but tell me if I'm wrong.
Yes, no, you are correct. You do know what my choice is going to be. So, growing up, I had everybody has that VHS that they just rent the hell out of at the local, video store.
Right.
Every weekend you want it. Your parents just begrudgingly get it for you again. They could have bought it 4 times over by the time, you've rented it as many times. For me, that movie,
Phyllis and Jane March.
Sure, there you go.
Right.
For me,
Did that get a laugh from Naveen? Should have. I froze.
Was I don't know if I want to say little known, but certainly not one of the most well-known 80s flicks. 1986's Rad.
Nice.
It's about an underdog BMX bike rider going up against a traditional 80s movie bad guy and trying to be the underdog and win the thing.
Radical,
dude.
Absolutely.
Spoiler: they're all killed by Bozo at the end.
Yep. Yep.
Damn.
God damn, Bozo's a fucking champ.
And
What a name.
the
Bozo and
love
Slug.
interest for this movie, I think we're marking on briefly.
Say again.
The love interest in the film, an actress who
The lovely.
Come again?
The lovely Lori
yeah.
Loughlin.
Mm.
Yes, indeed. This is pre. What was it?
Full House.
No, I was gonna say pre UCLA scandal.
Say it,
Pre-
man.
prison
Just say
sentence.
it. Say it. All that naughty girl. Lord have mercy.
Lord have mercy. All right. So we got Rad as the first pick, and it's a actually it's a personal favorite of my little brother. Like I think he almost, when I was telling Tim about we were going to do a B movie cycle, it's I think actually something he brought up independently. Like, no one you really liked it.
That's fucking rad.
We should invite him to that record.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Let's go to Papa. You said you had a couple choices, and I like the three of us. I think you should make your pitches, and the three of us should vote on what we want to.
One of them you definitely know. One you do not know.
Okay.
The one you do know, which was the first one that popped out to me, and not everybody considers it like a B movie, but I mean, it was like I think $2 million, a little under $2 million budget. It came out, oh God, in the 80s. It's a movie called Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And I've been meaning to rewatch it for years because there's just so many classic scenes from it. I love everything about it. My son's obsessed with it, yet he's never seen it before.
Just the concept.
It came back around, and it's one of those movies where it's a horror movie, but it's kind of like, it's really corny. There's a lot of like simple kills. There's like a clown chasing somebody, running him off the road, but the clown's riding in an invisible car. Just like how they filmed that, I'm like, oh my God, that's so amazing. The classic one where there's some guy, he's a clown, he's making like shadow puppets on the wall, and there's a scene of like a group of people watching, and they're like clapping, they're like, look at that. And he makes like, I think like a nun and like a bird, and all of a sudden he makes like a big T-Rex, and they're like, woo, and then he just swoops in and just makes it eat them. Just cool stuff. Kills where people are getting kidnapped, brought into the UFO, being wrapped in what looks to be cotton candy, and having their life juices sucked out with a straw.
Did you say that was a little under $2 million to make in the 80s?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That must be like the 30.
I was trying to look up what year it came out, but yeah, it was
1988.
1988. So still 1988, a little
That's
under 2 million. I think it was like 1.8 million or something.
That's a lot of
Pretty
money.
impressive.
Sounds like some good kills in that one. So let's not do any spoilers.
That's the first one.
Yeah.
The other one is a movie that was Bill Murray was quoted in 1990 as saying, "This is the movie you need to see this year." It's called Frankenhooker.
Yeah.
Frankenhooker.
Not familiar with that one at all.
No. Okay.
It has a pretty interesting sort of like lineage to it. Like this is a if you follow really kind of weirdo niche kind of horror stuff like that, this is a pretty well-known one.
The director Franken Henenlotter, he did the movie Basket Case. You might have heard of.
Yeah.
I think we talked about it before in the pod. It's a guy who he goes to New York. It's a revenge movie. His brother is like this weird mutant flesh lump that he keeps
like
in,
teratoma that he like keeps in a basket, but
it's up there in like classics. Maybe not on par with like Toxic Avenger, but some people consider it in high regard.
By the way, the tagline for Frankenhooker, a terrifying tale of sluts and bolts.
I was just reading that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Here is the. Let me put it out there. Frankenhooker. It's a film. It's about a guy. He's engaged. His fiance has a lawnmower accident, and so what he does is this guy, his fiance has been killed. He is a bit of a mad scientist on himself. What he does is he goes out into the city, to find new body parts to kind of piece her back together. He's preserved her head, but he decides he's going to kill hookers and then stitch them back together and recreate his fiance and bring her back to life. The best thing about this film is if you went to rent it at a video rental store back in the 80s, there was a really big VHS box for it. And there's a button on it. And if you push the button, it would say, "Want a date?" And so people would see it and they'd be like, "Oh, Frankenhooker, this must be like a porn." They push that, and then everybody knows that that person pushed the button for Frankenhooker, and the person would be like, no, I was just testing out the button." It's also well known for an exploding hooker scene, like 40 hookers explode, and it's also known for a bucket of boobs.
Wow,
that's my spiel.
So those are your picks. Naveen, your vote?
Man, they both. I've not seen any of them. I've heard of Killer Clowns.
Yeah.
Haven't seen it. Haven't heard of Frankenhooker.
You heard of a hooker, though, right?
No,
So,
actually, I haven't.
Could you,
no? Could
no.
Yeah. Could you explain what that is? Yeah.
Litchfield County. There's some stuff you're just not exposed to.
Yeah, no, that's true. I'm gonna have to go. Oh man, this is actually a tough one. They both sound really interesting.
I do.
But after seeing Toxic Avenger, I think I'm gonna stick with Killer Clowns there. That one.
Okay.
All right.
See if we can.
We got one for Killer Clowns.
So I have seen Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Actually, quite a few times. This is another one of those movies that was on HBO, and I watched it incessantly because it was on all the time as a teenager. So I recall being disturbingly fascinated by that particular movie. I have not seen Frankenhooker. I feel like Frankenhooker maybe follows in the footsteps of just by what we've seen so far, follows in the footsteps of Toxic Avenger. I also feel like it maybe is more of a B movie than Killer Clowns is. So I'm gonna vote for Frankenhooker.
All right,
but I would be happy to watch either.
I mean, yeah, the two very good pitches. I'm going to break the tie by going with Frankenhooker. Not so much like a movie I know a ton about myself, but for the movie podcast that I follow most often, like The Big Picture, this is one that comes up time and again as a real fun, really entertaining, sort of like a kind of just like sort of like wackadoo, sort of a kind of niche horror entry from its time. And also the Basket Case series, shout out like the brother Belial who lives in like a basket and gets up to some pretty gnarly shit. If this is the same director, the same
dude, that I looked up for B movies, right? I think Basket Case came out first.
Yeah,
that one was $35,000 budget, which is like a true B movie. This one was $2.5 million, but still, I mean, coming out in 1990, it's
sluts and bolts ain't cheap.
I'm telling you, nope.
Yeah. All right, so that's going to be Eric's entry, 1990s Frankenhooker.
And this one is meant to be not a true horror film. They know what it is, and they give you exactly that. And they did that to avoid like an NC-17 rating. So
that's nice. Naveen, going over to you.
All right, taking this out of Johnny's little spin-off episode there of Rebels, the B movie cycle that he did with his brother and his brother's friend Ruba. They sounded really interesting. So I'm going to go with Inframan.
1975 Hong Kong sci-fi martial arts action film that's basically a direct knockoff of multiple sort of Japanese kind of properties, Super Sentai, Ultraman. This is, Eric, you know this, in the newer Mystery Science theaters, like the Mads henchmen, the outfits that they wear, I believe actually came from this movie.
Oh wow, this is a Hong Kong superhero film. That's wild.
Yes.
based off of Japanese tokusatsu. So yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, Power Rangers is not the first.
No, of course not. Of course
Yeah.
not. No, I understand that, but that's
for
what it
like
looks
an
like.
American, American audience.
This
you could
looks
probably
amazing, and I
from
can't wait to try to figure out the cover art for this one.
I still have my notes for that episode of B Movie Blowout. Inframan, or the Cantonese title Chinese Superman, is a 1975 martial arts superhero movie by Hua Shan, based on Japanese tokusatsu franchises like Ultraman and Kamen Rider. That was the other one I was trying to remember. 2.5 stars from an early Roger Ebert review, where he writes, when they stop making movies like Inframan, a little light will go out in the world. The lead villain's name is Princess Dragon Mom.
I'm sold.
So, yeah.
Great choice, Naveen.
Yeah.
I hope so. I haven't seen it.
Neither have I. And it doesn't matter. It's going to be a great
rolling
choice.
the dice. Rolling the dice.
Yeah.
I'm showing up with a Power Ranger mask for that episode.
Yep.
All right. And so my contribution to this, because we're doing B movies, it's going to be a little scene, Steven Spielberg 1994 film, Schindler's List. That's sort of well-loved.
Fuck yourself. This is very Johnny.
Yes, it is very Johnny. My pick, a 1985 Stuart Gordon directed horror film called Reanimator.
There you go. That is
it's not bad.
low budget. That was, I think, 900,000.
Familiar.
Something like that. This is
Less
Eric
than
and
a
I
million.
have been on a little bit of a kind of a Lovecraft and Cthulhu kick on our gaming spin-off podcast, Cunny of the Goose. And this movie is very kind of loosely based on a 1992 to 1993 series of H.P. Lovecraft novellas called Herbert West Reanimator, which is he supposedly hated writing because he was largely at that point just kind of writing a rip-offs of Frankenstein.
Mm-hmm.
This movie, its 40th anniversary this year, and about a month or so ago, I actually got to see a theatrical re-release of it, starring Bruce Abbott, David Gale, Barbara Crampton, kind of one of her earlier roles. Fun, gnarly, super entertaining, little kind of low budget sort of horror movie. There is a scene in this film. I mean, we saw a lot of crazy shit tonight, but do not Google this. Do not look it up ahead of time. We're going to do a live watch. There's a scene in this film that is so lurid, that is so gnarly, that it actually led to the real life divorce of one of the actors involved.
It's such a solid horror film, and the budget is just unbelievable.
They made it with no money.
How little they spent on this, and it feels like they spent, God, who knows, $10 million on it or something.
There's a reason it's
done so well.
So I want to right now. I want Eric and Johnny, since Naveen hasn't seen Reanimator, to predict, knowing my sort of hesitancy around the horror.
20 to 30% chance you leave the pod.
I think so. Yeah. This I
Wow.
look. You did great today, by the way.
You did.
I don't want to downplay this at all. I was very proud of you.
Right.
Naveen, I knew he would like this one, but for you, I'm just like,
Naveen was grinning ear to fucking ear the entire time.
Dude, it was awesome.
yeah. I'm like, we're done. We're done here.
Out of the four, I mean, all four of us on the pod are nasty freaks. Naveen is going to covertly maybe the nastiest and freakiest.
I remember that scene where Toxie, he saves the girl. She got tricked to going to the Bowie concert. Toxie beats up all the bad guys, and then he gets back in the fucking car with a 12-year-old. And Naveen's like on the edge of his seat, like, hit that, my boy.
Man.
He's like, make Bowie sing.
All right, there goes my career. I need a new job.
He's a star, man.
This is all going on yeah. Talk about a moon age daydream. This is a preteen. No.
I couldn't write fast enough for this movie. I couldn't write fast enough. It was just hilarious.
Right.
So many good things.
High-fiving empty air at one point.
I know. I couldn't tell what you're doing. Were you taking a note, or you just drawing a little picture of it? It's like you stick figure going in car, 12-year-old to Bowie concert that never actually happens.
Andy, I apologize. Finish your thought, please.
No, that was my question. Was do you think that I will? What do you think?
All I asked. Eric knows what this is. You know what this is.
I know what this is. Do I? Yeah. I would. I'll say no. You will not like it. But I'll say this. You'll like parts of it.
Okay. All right.
If that gives you any chance of hope.
I'm just more for the experiment of it, wanting to see once we get to this watch what the outcome will be. So Eric is
it's certainly much more of a horror, quote unquote, horror movie than Toxic Avenger is.
It's really a horror movie.
More of a horror movie than certainly anything else like on this list. But it's just for like the nothing budget that they have, for as cheap as it is, for as hokey. Again, it's a fucking like Lovecraft movie, but it looks better. It's better written, better acted, and when things get gnarly, they get fucking gnarly at this.
Yeah.
It's really something.
All right.
So
here we go.
I mean, it's 80s. It's 80s. You can't go wrong.
Right? Yeah. You want to talk your practical effects?
No. Yeah. Let's go, man. Let's go.
Yeah. Gentlemen, four very exciting picks here. We are going to get to that cycle very, very soon, but coming attractions. Next week, we're taking a little bit of a break from discussing film to do another draft episode. Our draft episode. This is like one in a possible series we're thinking about called Remix, where the draft is dependent on us kind of picking characters, places, situations from like the films we've already kind of covered on this pod and doing something interesting with them. Next week, our Remix draft we're going to call ABC Family Night. We're going to try to draft characters, places, and situations to make our own 90s style Full House, step-by-step Family Matters. TGIF. Yeah. Hopefully recording on a Friday, no less. We'll have to see.
Of course.
Yeah. Looking forward to that. Any final thoughts?
Eric, good theme cycle.
Yeah, that was fun.
Your pick, right?
Yeah. Honestly, this zagged completely. This is not what I expected at all. I expected a lot of safe bets here.
Yeah.
So what we ended up with was very surprising.
Everyone kind of did their own thing, but we also had
Mystery Men.
Mystery Men, I thought was going to be like a given.
Yeah. Any of those kind of flicks.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yep.
Cool. We did good, guys.
I think we did.
I'm telling you, take that hand, take the right hand, put it over your shoulder, lift it, lift it, drop it, lift it, drop it. There we go.
It feels good.
There we go.
If
you're left-handed, I don't care. Use the right hand.
Rebels Without a Pod, episode 55 again. Gentlemen, have a good night.
Adios, amigos.
Take care, daddies.
All right.
Happy Father's Day to all three of you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Later.
Bye.